Welcome to our YouTube channel, Climate Change Action Plan, Carbon Neutrality. I'm George Sullivan.
And I'm Mike Fiorino. George and I are the senior management team for Net Zero Analysis and Design Corp. We're also ISO 14001 International Environmental Auditors.
Mike and I have found that our clients have been asking us to put a series of YouTube videos together to allow them to understand and work through their carbon footprint. So we have actually put this channel together to explain carbon neutrality, carbon footprinting, and net zero emissions, and all of the parts and pieces that come into play. Mike, what do you think is the most important videos that the clients have been asking for?
Well, I think the first and foremost is our carbon offset calculator, which will actually let somebody calculate their carbon footprint on a yearly basis. And that can be done for an individual, whether it's residential, commercial, whatever.
Industrial.
About the only thing it doesn't cover is airlines, but they can go to the ICAO website and or several other websites and get airline-specific calculations.
Sure. So when we are doing our channel, just as a heads up, we are actually also carbon offset project developers. So we actually understand where offsets come from. That's been a big question on why am I offsetting, right? Why would I buy offsets? Why can't I just do energy efficiency instead? And the biggest thing that I've learned is energy efficiency. That reduces a small quantity of your energy usage, but it doesn't offset your carbon footprint.
Well, you can't get to zero by doing energy efficiency. Even the electricity you use from a renewable power source has a carbon footprint.
Right.
So offsets are about the only way you can get to zero, at least that we know of right now.
Or that we figured out, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And the UN's figured out, so.
Right.
So this is the week of COP25, just as a notice, so that there's a lot of discussion going on setting up and following the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, CDMs, and then also too what the cities, states, and countries are looking at that are actually implementing or already have implemented a cap and trade program, which we're going to talk about and give you the 101 on those basics. Here in Illinois, we are in the process of implementing a cap and trade program, and it's going to be really interesting. The issue that we found with our clients here, our real estate clients, is that they're just going to pass the tax on. They're not worried about the carbon footprinting. And we're going to see rents go up in that process. Where New York, they actually have a rent freeze. So when New York City did it, that got the building management companies right in the middle of it. So they're actively trying to figure out how to offset. So it's going to be intriguing as we roll this out across the rest of the US. Mike, what do you think about cap and trade here in Chicago?
Well, I think the cap and trade here in Chicago is going to take time to implement for sure. And I'm not really sure at this point what they're going to use as a model, because if I'm not mistaken, in New York they've implemented their cap and trade, but they've excluded the government buildings there themselves. So that may not be the case here in Chicago. I'd rather see them include all the buildings.
Well, if Chicago does it correctly, they can actually use their portfolio, sign up for renewables, and be an offset generator in their own cap and trade system. That's true.
Yeah, they can do fuel switching on their existing portfolio,
right,
and do offsetting, sure,
yeah,
and then sell those offsets into the cap and trade market.
Right, which would actually be a revenue stream versus a cost.
Correct.
You know, where California, California being one of the oldest cap and trade states, they issue all of the offsets, so they are making money on them.
Right.
You know, and it's a nice offset for that whole thing to happen.
Right.
So, tell me about what you think the client should be getting out of this.
Well, I think a better understanding of the terms and also the procedures for how carbon offsets are generated, what they actually are, and what they're used for, and hopefully, we can give a little background on where they came from and maybe the future of where they're going and how long this, the offsets can survive. Obviously, there's a diminishing return on them as the environment becomes greener, hopefully, there's going to be less offsets generated because they won't be needed.
Right.
But we'll already be on renewable power sources.
Sure. Well, it's going to take a couple of generations to phase out
Yes.
our addiction to petrochemicals.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right now, just look at plastics and the plastic issues that we're facing in the
right.
environment.
Right.
But so that makes it a huge difference. And trying to get enough renewables is going to be really, really interesting.
Right. Right. So hopefully, our video series will address some of that and put it into simple terms that everyone can understand and not get too deep into the scientific issues.
Yeah, well,
Or political.
I would love to get deeper into the scientific issues, but the political stuff is where I stay away from.
Right.
It's not my choice.
Right.
So, but we actually have 37 states here in the United States and 2 cap and trade markets already in North America. The one is the Western Carbon Initiative, or Western Climate Initiative, I'm sorry, and the other one is the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. So both are rather intriguing, and they both approached it in different directions. So you'll see that in our cap and trade videos. And also who are trailing states, as well as signing up with those. Illinois decided to sign up with it as opposed to be trailing. So it's going to be an interesting time frame. I think we're going to see a lot of changes happen very, very quickly. And the other big thing is low carbon fuel standard credits, which those are your electric vehicle credits, and those seem to be a transportation hub credit. We're going to see more and more electric vehicles. So coming on the road, I know here in Illinois, we've been far behind. They're putting a push on to get chargers involved. So that's an untapped marketplace for generating low carbon fuel standard credits, which is a different type of offset primarily to transportation.
Right, and there's also a mechanism to produce offsets just from the use of the EV chargers, not into the LCFS credit market, which is mostly California, Washington, and I believe Oregon is coming on board, I'm not sure, and then some of the Canadian provinces as well. But the generating offsets from EV chargers is a international mechanism.
Right, so those could be sold cross-border.
Right, and they can be sold cross-border, right?
Right, so that's going to be interesting as we slowly wrap into a global marketplace. So, and we're actually partnered with the Entrex carbon market, which is an SEC-regulated trading platform for environmental commodities such as carbon offsets. And right now at COP25, Gold Standard, which is one of the UN registries, and Vera, which is one of the other UN registries, have both committed to tracking additional projects, and they're also looking at increasing their requirements on renewable energy generation as well as forestry credits to make sure that they are truly good credits for, i.e. no leakage is what they're looking at. So we'll get further into those as we go through and look at these projects. So
yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today and our introduction. Definitely do comment below on the comment card. We will definitely get back to you. It's all about you as our community and adding our clients to our community. So you'll see quite a few people come through. And like and subscribe to our video series, and we will be posting at least one video a week. So some of these are rather intense as far as production schedule goes. And we look forward to having you tune in weekly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Net Zero Analysis, Carbon Neutral Now, Net Zero Emissions 2030.